Oh, A3, you're back. That was quick.
Yeah. Quick bathroom break.
Quick bathroom break. Yeah, you got to get that in. It's like right before the workout. It's no different than when you go on a podcast. You're like, oh, I have the nervous pee. I gotta make it happen.
There's nothing worse than being like 5 minutes into a 10-minute AMRAP and going like, I got to go number 2. Like
there actually is something worse. It's being 5 minutes into a 1-hour podcast and having to go bathroom. Yeah. But welcome back, everybody. Affiliate Hot Seat. First and foremost, please like, subscribe, share. This helps us grow the channel. It helps us help more affiliate owners, all of that stuff. It helps us help affiliates all over the world, like my 2 new best friends here, A3, which I learned how to pronounce that right before the show, and his head coach, Valentin, at CrossFit NulDertien.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Wow. Really good. Really good.
Yeah. A++. A++.
Yeah.
We were talking before. You guys are in the Netherlands.
Correct.
Okay. What's the CrossFit scene like in the Netherlands?
I think the same as all over the world, except like I think every place I visited, and I've been all the way from like Thailand to Spain, been to CrossFit South Brooklyn last month. I think it's pretty much the same. Like the details change, but the overall tendency and vibe is pretty much the same. Yeah.
Do you guys find when you travel, and maybe you've not been in these scenarios, I find that when I travel, like the boxes are very similar, but like the overall community has significant differences, meaning like collectively there's differences. So in Europe, the overall CrossFit community is much tighter from box to box. Like Puerto Rico, I mean, it's like CrossFit in 2012. Like everybody's high on CrossFit.
Yeah.
In the States, I think it's a little bit less like that. But like, do you guys see that when you travel?
Well, I'm not sure. I think for us in the Netherlands, we're pretty tight. Like community is like community, and people are like really tight and like city wise.
Well, that's a cultural thing in the Netherlands, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think city and city.
I've had a couple of clients over the years who were like NATO guys or UN guys maybe that were stationed here for like 3 years. Yako, and then oh god, I'm forgetting his other name. Anyway, but they were like military guys.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. What were you doing at Dave's Box in South Brooklyn?
A holiday.
Oh,
in New York. Yeah, I was in New York for a week, and I like wanted to do a drop in, and then trying to find a box to do a drop in, and then basically it was Valentin. It was like, oh, like David from like we saw the videos on the journal, like he's in New York. I'm like, no shit. So yeah, booked there, went there, like awesome guy. Had actually like he was teaching the class, so we taught the class. We talked some shop afterwards. Like he showed me the whole space. Like he loves to meet other box owners. So yeah, shout out to David. Anybody going to New York, like definitely do a drop in over there. Like
yeah, he's awesome. He's a rad dude. I consider to be one of the raddest dudes. I believe I'm going to see him next week, and I think he's going to be at the affiliate summit in Glen Burnie, Maryland, for the Northeast affiliates. So do you guys have affiliate summits out there in the Netherlands? No. Austin Maliolo, you now have a to-do. You have a tasker to get a summit in the Netherlands.
I think maybe not.
Wesley's doing.
Yeah, I think not officially from CrossFit. I'm not sure if it's officially from CrossFit or not, but we do have like affiliate gatherings. Like once a year, they invite all the affiliates and then they get together. But I don't know if they call
it. Who's your affiliate rep out there?
Wesley.
Wesley
I don't know who that is.
Ooh, Wesley.
But I will be how we say it, like the intruding guest. I will invite myself and anybody else on the Best Hour crew to come to the affiliate summit and hang with you guys if you guys would have us.
Yeah, for sure. Fly over.
Cindy said that you did. Pull that up, Cody. So Cindy said you guys did have one last year.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how many gyms how many CrossFit affiliates are in the Netherlands?
So
I think like 300.
Yeah, like 3.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay. Did you go to the last one in September?
No, because Wesley always plans them in my holiday. I complained to Wesley about this. And he promised me to check in with me next time before he plans it. No, but because 2000, this 23, 20, so 22, it was in September, and it was right in my middle of my holiday. The year before that was like in the middle of my holiday. I'm like, dude, like, don't plan them in my holiday. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so tell me about the affiliate. Like, well, actually, tell me how you guys got into, both of you guys. So, A3, you're the owner, and then Valentin,
Yeah.
you're the head coach, correct? I want to make sure you
Yeah.
get that right. Yeah, cool. So, how'd you guys get into CrossFit? When did you find it? When did you start?
So my journey starts way back in 2008, I think.
Oh, gee, dude.
Yeah. Training at the Global Gym. There was this crazy American. Do you know Nolan Mooney?
Mooney. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he was the crazy guy in the Global Gym doing handstand push-ups against the cable crossover machine and
He's
hanging
still a
rings.
crazy guy, by the way.
He's still crazy guy. No longer in the Global Gyms, less in the Global Gyms. So yeah, he was doing over there, and then he was doing the crazy workouts. Chatted up with him, and he was like, "Yeah, try it." And the classic, "How hard can it be?" So yeah, I did that. Eventually, I think like a couple of months later, he opened up his first box, and I was studying there. So my college was in Utrecht, Driebergen. Started over there, did CrossFit for like I think a year or 2 years. Got my level 1 in 2009. It was like the first level 1 I think in Europe. I had
Nice.
like Pat Sherwood and like people all the way from like Hungary and Romania, all the way from Eastern Europe coming over to the Netherlands. So yeah, it was
That's awesome.
really cool. Then finished college, went back to my hometown, and pretty much had two options: either go back to the Globo Gym or start doing the thing for my own. And found a place, a little like attic above, actually like you know where they spray paint cars. So that was like we were above that. So like doing
Oh,
CrossFit
okay. Yep.
in paint fumes. So yeah, that was I'm like, oh. And I think I opened my
Isn't
first.
that what
like,
it always feels like? You're just doing,
Yeah.
like you're working out with in the midst of paint fumes. Is that why my lungs hurt all the time?
And the guy was awesome. He was either like spray painting cars or smoking weed. So it was one of both. We had a great time in the box. And I think I opened my first like strength and conditioning type CrossFit type box in like 2011. So way back
Okay.
in the day.
But
Yeah.
but not affiliated.
No, I think we affiliated because my then partner, we stayed in the strength and conditioning part, and we affiliated in like 2014, I think. 2014,
it.
2015, something like that.
Okay, so then you're coming, so you're approaching 10 years almost as an affiliate owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congrats to you, my friend.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Long time ago.
How many?
Yeah.
Do you know what is the who's the most senior box owner in the Netherlands? Do you know?
CrossFit Gemert. They were the first CrossFit gym in the Netherlands. I think they affiliated in like, there must have been like 2007, 2008 or something that they opened.
Oh, that's early in the game,
Yeah,
especially for the Netherlands. Yeah. So you mentioned Nolan Mooney. Nolan is a flow master on seminar staff. Does he still live in Holland?
I think he's like semi-traveling, but officially I think he still lives in Holland because his kids live in Holland. I think so.
Yeah, he's a former Army guy. He and I did a seminar in Kuwait many years ago with his old unit, and he was like, we both flew like all across the world to do this, and he was like so happy to be there. We were like sleeping in open bay barracks, and I was just like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I left this life for a reason. I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah,
but he's fantastic. He judges at the games, and has for many years. Just a super good dude. Okay, and then what about you, Valentin?
So I started CrossFit in like 2017, and 1 year later, I discovered also the other side of CrossFit, because in the beginning I wanted to go to CrossFit Games, to train that hard to go to CrossFit Games, and then I discovered also the community side of CrossFit, like helping people live longer and healthy life. And then I decided to become a coach. So I took my level 1. And had no experience standing in front of people, like in front of the class. Then at the box that Adri is having, like the CrossFit NulDertien, they had an open spot for internships. So I started here, like for half a year. And then like with small classes, 2 people, I started with 2 people, and my voice started to shake, to freak out. Yeah, my first experience. And then I grew up from there, and now 4 years later.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah,
4.5
4 years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah, and
then so your role there. So how do those roles work in the gym, right? So A3, what are the things that you're doing, and then Valentin, what are the things that you're doing inside of the box? Like, how do you guys split those duties, or how does it work? Like, what's that structure look like?
So I take care of the programming, and also now since the beginning of this year of our team, I become the head coach and try to develop us to be better coaches. And what else do I do?
What else do you do? That's a good question.
What is it you say that you do here at Intertech?
Because a lot of times I whine.
I'm so busy.
Yeah. No,
is he just A3? Does he just walk around with like a shaker bottle and a clipboard and be like, "I'm busy"? And we're like, "What are you doing?"
He's not even walking around. He's just sitting, down. And he's like, "Man, I have two less hours in a day. I need more hours in a day."
Yeah.
Like,
I answer emails. I work with like retention and like send emails to the people that they didn't came up in a while.
I think a lot of like the community managing stuff, like not necessarily like the complaining emails and stuff like that, but like the active retention, like following up with people. Hey, we missed you, or having chit chats. Like that's your role. Yeah. And everything else, that's what I do.
Okay, cool. So talk to me a little bit about the affiliate thing. Like describe it to me like I'm a blind person. Like, it's this big, we have this many members, this is how we come, this is how many classes we run. Like, give me like the bumper sticker kind of rundown of the affiliate.
Right. So this affiliate, we've been open since 2015. This affiliate moved to a new location in 2019. Been here since 2019. This is square meter wise, almost 700. So let's say 650 square meters. So I don't know.
So like almost 2,000 square feet. It's like times 3 for the most.
777 square yards, however many feet that is.
So what was it again?
It's 777 square yards.
Oh, so probably like 23 to 2,500 square feet, probably.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, roughly. Okay. Member-wise,
it looks bigger than that based on this video that we're looking at.
Wide angle, man. No, but it's all it's a really big square space, what makes it look really big. And it's a really high ceilings. I think that works really good. Like,
even better, yeah. Okay.
High ceilings, wide stuff. Member-wise, we're at 180. I just got all my numbers sorted. I think I got it right here. Yeah, 180, 179 to be precise, but 180 roughly.
Okay. And then how many classes a day do you guys run?
3 and 4, 7 a day.
7
in the morning, 7. Yeah. 3 in the morning, 7 at night.
4 at night.
Oh, so 10.
7 in total. Sorry, yeah. So 3 in the morning and 4 in the evening. 7 in total.
So what does the morning look like for you guys? Like what do those class times look like?
7 to 8, and then 9 to 10, 10 to 11. And then in the evening, we start at 5 p.m., 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9.
Oh, wow. You guys go late.
I think that's a major difference. If I watch like the other podcast, if the American owners, like you guys start way earlier than us, like 5:30 is a normal class time, but you end way earlier than us. Like if we had classes before, like pre-COVID, from like 9 to 10, and people would come.
In the evening.
That's what people say. They say the people in the Netherlands are lazy and they don't want to get up early. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we're party people. We just keep on going. Like
so let me ask you that. Is that like I've never been to the Netherlands. I've been a lot of places, but I've never been anywhere in the Netherlands. Is that like a cultural thing? Like, is early morning like not really a thing there? Like everybody just tends to go later into the evening, and then like the day just starts later.
Yeah, I think that's just how the country works. Like work starts at 8 or at 9 for most people, just generalizing real quick. And you finish work at like 4, 5, 6, someone in that range. And then you either go home, eat, and then the evening starts. And then you go play sports or you hang out with friends or whatever until like 8, 9, 10. And then you go to bed at around 11. I'm just generalizing, right? There are exceptions, but like
that's
how most of the families work. Yeah.
outside of like a couple of like big metropolitan cities like New York or something like that, in most places in the States, like those later classes you guys have would probably not go well.
Yeah.
Like it's just too late. People are like, we're going to bed.
Yeah. But that's what I like for us, like the 5 to 6 class are the 2 most busiest classes because those people come directly out of work. So you either finish work a little bit early, you join the 5 class, or you join the 6 class. The 7 to 8 class is the least busy class. Like if I need to cancel a class because nobody's there or we change the class format, that's that class. And then the 8 to 9 class is again like fully booked because those people go home, they eat, put their kids to bed, and then come and work out.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I just remembered the other guy's name. It was Ton, Ton. He was great. I used to coach a lot of the 6 a.m.s when he was here, and he was an older gentleman. He was a special forces guy in the Netherlands, and he was one of these dudes. He had like terrible movement, but he would go hard in the paint, dude. And he'd be like, "My arms hurt," and I'm like, "Well, you move like shit, Ton." But we could get you sorted out. But he was fantastic, man. He used to stick around after class and we would talk for hours sometimes. He was fantastic. I really enjoyed him. Okay, so all right, so you guys are running 3 a.m, 4 p.m.
Yep.
And then A3, how many classes are you coaching a week?
4, 5, 6, 9, 13. No, 15.
Okay, so decent load. And then what, Valentine? What about you?
20
okay.
classes.
All right, so between those two, that's 35 of the. We'll call it 7 times 5. That's 30. So you guys coach all the classes?
No, because we have 2 other coaches and they both coach 2. Rosa has 2 hours, so it's 2, and Astrid has like 6 hours.
Well, if you guys run 7 a day times 5 days, that's 35. You coach 15, he coaches 20, that's 35.
Yeah, and then you have weekends. Saturday
how many
and
classes
Sunday.
How many classes do you guys run on the weekends?
4 classes, 1 hour open gym.
Okay. Are you guys open? Are you guys open 7 days a week?
Yeah, that's why I also know, like, you go like, oh, Sunday close. Oh yeah, that's normal. I'm like, dude, people will like chop my head off if I close on Sunday. Like
we used to be open. We were open.
We
were open on Sundays for the majority of my affiliate ownership. I think I don't know how long we've been closed on Sundays, but let's call it less than 5 years. But we were open 7 days a week for the first almost 10. Yeah. But I have been considering giving people that access via some sort of extended access, like a hybrid AF or something like that, to kind of solve for that, and holidays without having to have the coaches be here. I do think that is a viable solution. I'm just a big fan of like, I'm never going to have the coaches do something I don't want to do, and I don't want to be here 365 days a year.
No, I think in the beginning of my affiliateship, like I made the mistake I think a lot of affiliate owners make, like people want to train and need to be here. And then I was open. I think the first year it was just me coaching classes with like an intern, just doing a lot of stuff. I think we were open like 365 the first year. Like every holiday we ran like a special event or a special workout, or at least we were open to do something. And then 2 people showed up. You know, those days where all the members would go like, no, we want to train on Easter, and then you'll be open for Easter, and like 5 people show up, and we go like, well, next Easter we're not going to be there. So yeah.
What's speaking of making mistakes, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've made as an affiliate owner? I'm always curious about that with every affiliate owner.
Taking things too personal.
Ooh, okay. How old are you?
I'm 33. Turning.
I feel like you should know that a little bit faster than what.
I feel 25, so I always have to count a couple of years there. No,
yeah. Okay. So I mean, like I don't know. Is that weird? I mean, like because you started your affiliate essentially when you were early 20s.
Yeah, I started when I was 21, 22. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that that's weird that you were taking things personally.
No,
when in my early 20s, I took everything personally.
No, but having so like good side, bad side, but the bad side was that attaching too much value to the personal attachment to certain members. like, hey, I really don't want to lose you, so I will do everything in my power, which is a lot as affiliate owner, to keep you or to keep you happy. Like two persons yell out, oh, I want to change the program, so you change the program for all 100 people. How like doesn't shit
Well,
happens, right?
right. But I mean, is that, I don't know, is that a mistake or is it just unavoidable because you're just due to immaturity?
It's a learning curve. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely did that too, but I chalk that up to immaturity. Like I just didn't know any better. And I think you just develop a certain level of detachment from I always like to describe like the mature entrepreneur, like forget whatever business you're in, like their line is just steady. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it just goes straight across. The immature business owner is just like all over the place, like emotionally, like something happens and then they react to it, versus like you see somebody who's mature, something comes across and everybody's like freaking out. They're like, hold the phone,
It will
let's get
pass.
some more information. Let's figure out what we should do about this. And I find myself more in the latter these days. I mean, I still get reactive to stuff, but okay. So what do you guys do really well?
What do we get? I think our main part, and that's what I really bestow on my coaches and what I think is that we care. Like we honestly, genuinely care about everybody that walks in the door and especially that trains. And how does that translate into the membership? We know, I wouldn't say everything, but we know everything that matters to us and to the members in their training. We know almost everything that really matters. And we show that we care. We send everything from cards, like get well cards, baby born. Sounds like, but when a baby is born, we don't send baby born gifts. So that we do, we make people feel really at home. And that's
so that's what I was going to ask you. So like this is something that most box owners would say, and I believe it to be true. When people say it. However, I do think that there's a follow-on question to that, which is like, and this is not directed to you, just like all affiliate owners, like, and to myself included, which is like, prove it. When you say you care, what does that mean? Like, tangibly show me that you care. And this is something that I'm really starting to revisit heavily, which is like, there's a difference between saying I care and like how I feel about something and how that feeling is portrayed in a series of actions within the business. And that's what I always find is that where we as affiliate owners lack is like, there's no lack of caring. There's a lack of display in the form of systems design and member interaction is where that falls apart. Because if I care, it's like being in a relationship. Like if you're like, I definitely love you, but like I never cut out time for you and I never go on dates and I never like buy you birthday presents and I forget our anniversary, then it's just like, well, cool, you can care all you want. But if the other person doesn't feel it, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, but I think like we always like ask an extra question. We take the time to answer their messages. Like they have our personal numbers, they text us. I don't think this is a plus because this is also not that okay, but we take the time like to listen to them.
Yeah. I think the best examples is one of our members lost her mother like on Saturday, and then on Monday, Tuesday, she comes to the box because this is the place she wants to be. This is her safe place where she can be herself. Next 2 days, we as coaches, like we buy a card, we send the card, we all get texted, oh, thank you so much for the support. This is where she comes, right? When people's family members are like diagnosed, like we have now one family member diagnosed with cancer, like this is just waiting for her dad to end, right? This is not a happy message. And like we are one of the first to like be briefed on that, like, hey, I still want to come, like awesome. Like if you want to be in the class or maybe just be here, hang out at the bar, like just come. I think that's a big part that shows me that like, we created something for the members, a place where they want to be, not just to like bro out, take your shirt off and be awesome, but like when it matters, really matters in life, like this is where they want to be and this is where they like feel valued and feel safe.
Do you guys do anything unique for your members? Like obviously there's the you know, the birthdays, the anniversaries, all that kind of stuff. But have you guys figured out anything that you guys like really lean on that you at least try to make unique to your interaction with your members?
Have the physio fit classes.
Yeah, but that's not interacting. Yeah, I think like we just started, and it was semi out of necessity, but like we just started, and I think it's really good with like we invited every single one of our 180 members for like a 10-minute, was never a 10-minute, but it tended a 10-minute sit down with me or Valentin. Just like it's not necessarily goal setting conversation, but it can be, but also just a quick check-in. And I really want to like, and I would tell us to like keep that up for the next, to do it again in like 6-8 months, or at least like once a year, because there were members here for like 5-6 years who I speak to everybody in class, right? But it's different.
Right.
And you know, as a coach, right? Like talking to people in class or before class is different than really sitting down with people one-on-one and just checking in and go like, hey, like you started 5 years ago wanting to get jacked, but now you have a little one on the way, wives, whatever, like life's changes in those 5 years. COVID happened, everything happened. Like, how's life? Like, how are you really doing? And like, we have a lot of information in that. And now it's on us like, hey, what can we do with that? And like examples.
So then
of people
when you guys have, go ahead.
With that. Yeah. Like people who have come with us, like in those conversations with like concrete, like goals, like whatever we can help, we're like, hey, do a little bit extra homework of try to approach class this way and approach this movement that way. Like simple things we can just hand out directly. And other things are broader, like, hey, keep me more accountable for coming more to class. I'm like, awesome. Make a little note, check in every once in a while in the system. Did you show up often enough? If not, shoot him a message.
So that was my question, is like like where do we fail as affiliate owners typically, right? So the goal review session is something that it's floating around out there. And full disclosure, like I hate the idea of a goal review session for many reasons, but that's just me personally. What do you guys do with that information, right? So you sit down and you talk with somebody, but then going back to like, how do I make them, what's the follow-on action that you guys have figured out how to do with that information? So you sit down and you tell me you want accountability. How are you guys tracking that to make sure that you fulfill on that?
So the system is also helping us to see like if it's the class attendance, we can see that easily, and then we can mail them back. The plan is to get back at them like once a quarter and to review those goals. And like if they want to do a strict pull up or like depend on the goals to improve muscle ups, we want to create some programs that they can train extra, or like in a smaller group class where we can focus only on that. Like now we are also checking what's the best way to do this, you know, like we want to give them something extra, or like to show them that we care and to find ways how we can do that.
But to like feel real quickly, if somebody sits down with me and Fern, you go like, hey, I really love the class, but I've been struggling for like 2 years. I really want to get my first muscle up. I'm like, awesome. You know, every Wednesday we have gymnastics specialty class. Like, try to make time for that. Show up and go like, awesome. Like, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, cool. And then we check in a couple of weeks. Like, how's it going? Yeah, no, but, and then insert whatever excuse you want to insert because I didn't make it. Like, awesome, right? But this happens. I think like one, it's a piece of accountability on their side, but also if I sit down with you again in like 6 months, I'm like, how's it going? You're like, yeah, you promised me I would get a muscle up and I got it. Then I check in the system. I'm like, Fern, you didn't show up to any of the specialty class. Oh yeah, but, and then I think this is my opinion. Like if we provide the solution, people will check in with themselves and go like, oh yeah, I want better push-ups. Awesome. Like we give them a push-up program to do at home. Check in with people like, hey, did you do the program? Oh yeah, no, like you want to get like Murphs coming up, man. Like you want to have those push-ups or not? Like, oh yeah, start training. And then in 6 months, sit down with them again. Like still, how's the push-up? Look in the file, wanted to get better at push-up. Saw that Valentin sent you the program file. Did you do them? Yeah, no, but maybe if you wanted to get better, you like could have done, or there's something else. And then we whatever from like upsell PT programs to just have a good sit down with them. Like, hey, is it really what you want or not?
Right. What metrics do you guys track on your members, just out of curiosity?
Attendance.
Yeah. Attendance. That's
So when do you track, like when do you look at attendance? Like how many times a month or when?
I think attendance like every 2 weeks to every month. Like that's for the people. So every 2 weeks we check in like, hey, who are the members who like has the biggest decline in like showing up rate? Like, hey, like you came in 5 times a week and now you're bound to like 1 or 2 times a week. So that's number one. Then I think every month it's just an overall view. And this year we started after listening to the podcast with the like the 150 club, like giving away. Yeah, that's end of this month is end of first quarter, so all those people are going to get an update. Like, hey guys, like if you want to hit the 150 end of the year, like this is what you need to be. So that's going to be awesome too.
Okay, so what you just go ahead.
Nicole from CrossFit Roots, she had like the 250 club.
The 225, yeah.
Yeah,
225. Yeah,
225. So actually, and this is kind of where you might not even realize you're doing this, but this is like if you could take that concept, right, and then zoom in at a more micro level, meaning you guys are being proactive, right? So there's two different there's more than two different kinds of, but like the two types of metrics that we would look at in most businesses are what we would describe as lag metrics and then lead metrics. Do you guys know the difference between those two?
One is active and the other is reactive.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So one is in the past. Yeah, one is past and has happened. The other one is essentially like a precursor, right? Meaning like it's a predictor of the future. And then so what you guys are doing with checking in with them in the quarter is you're looking at what is a lead metric that would result in a lag metric at the end of the year. So the metric at the end of the year would be 250, right? But at the end of the year, it is now a lag metric. They either hit it or they didn't. What you're doing is you're checking in, and that number you're now looking at is now a lead metric because it's telling me what is going to happen in the future, whether they're going to hit it or not, at which point I can start to adjust it moving forward and I can start to drive the metric. And where I'm going with that is what we can all do better as affiliates is zooming in a little bit further, because we need to find the lead metrics on a more granular basis. What I mean by that is looking at attendance almost on a weekly basis, because we both know this. If I ask you a series of questions and I say, if you check attendance every 2 weeks and they haven't been in, and you reach out to me and you're like, yo, we need to get you back in the gym. How many attendances am I going to get in that last 2 weeks realistically for the month?
Yeah. Not that much. Well,
not that
depends on, but yeah.
It could happen, right? Like hypothetically, they could come in every day for the next 2 months, but it's probably not going to happen. And what I mean by that is like, even that is kind of a lag metric, because what we know, just statistically speaking, is if they go 2 weeks, otherwise stated, they haven't used their membership for 50% of the month, or whatever the billing cycle might be, 4 weeks, immediately this investment has negative ROI. It's not even a discussion. So I need to catch it sooner. So like we typically recommend track it weekly. And then, because now I can zoom in a little bit further and I can turn that into a positive lead metric, which leads into the next piece, which is like most of us are connecting with our members. We're coaching in the negative. Meaning, like you just said, you're like, yo, hey, we haven't seen you in a couple weeks, right? So that would be equivalent of if I'm coaching, I say, hey, your knees are in, or that's coaching in the negative. I'm pointing out the obvious to them instead of providing them a solution or reinforcing or coaching in the affirmative or the positive. So yes, you still need to look for those things. However, if I was more proactive in tracking the positive outcomes that people were having, so tracking good attendance and tracking results-based metrics like PRs, things like in-body scans or weight loss, things like lifetime attendance, like all of these things now become reinforcement mechanisms instead of me trying to scoop up or fix essentially negative habits.
Yeah.
Right. You need to have the other ones, but I think a lot of us, we spend way too much time in trying to catch people from falling out of the net instead of reinforcing the good behavior early. and saying, hey, yo, like, so if you're thinking about Committed Club, take what you're doing there for the quarter and then zoom in. If they were going to get it for the quarter, they would need to get it for the month, which means I probably should check in with them at the halfway point for each month. So if they were going to get 16, I check in every 2 weeks. If they're not at 8 by the 2-week mark, or they are at 8, I'm like, yo, you're crushing. Keep it up. By the way, I saw that you hit a PR on the deadlift. You and 60 other people did that on Monday. Like, nice job. So with regard to retention, I think one of the things that we could all be better at is just a little bit of a mindset shift, is like, how do I reinforce the positive things that are happening rather than always focusing on, I haven't seen you here? Because they know they haven't been there. They're not unaware.
Yeah.
And then I can take that momentum and ride it further, right? Because at the end of the day, people leave when they don't get results. And how do they not get results? They don't show up.
Yeah.
And what you do if this transforms in just, this week, it's Monday, I will receive that email from my coach that will tell me everything, all my PRs that I had this week, because maybe the first one can work good, like, my coach is paying attention and this and that. But then it's just become that weekly email that is going to be, here I will receive it with all the stuff that I did. So I think people will not pay enough attention, because now you have also to send it to everybody.
Well, so this becomes the challenge, right? Is how do I scale the unscalable? Now, yes, I understand that could be a concern, but that concern is a little bit, I would say it's like unfounded, and here's why. Number one, not everybody's going to hit a PR every week, right? So it's not, I'm sending the entire gym an email every week, be like, you PR'd last week. Like, it's not going to happen. Number two, no person ever in the history of mankind got tired of people telling them how awesome they were doing. Like, nobody, right? And this is kind of the whole point of this idea of retention, is instead of being reactive and in the negative, how about we reinforce the positive and be like, yo, you're crushing, keep going. Like, I've had many coaches, and not once, no matter how good I was playing or whatever, was I upset that they were like, keep going, like, you're crushing. I was always just like, all right, I'll do more, right? Like, how much further do you want me to go? Where it can get annoying, or where they see it, is when it's just like, still haven't seen you. I still need to do that one, but that one's less effective.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the challenge becomes like, how do I connect with them on a relevant topic in a relative time frame? Meaning, like, you're doing this, and there's a lot of ways to do that. And I think every kind of box you need to figure out what they are. And then some of them you need to manufacture, right? Like, you need to manufacture some of these wins. Like, how you program is a way to manufacture wins. How often that you do different social events is a way to manufacture wins. How often you're doing in-body scans is a way to manufacture wins. Like, it's not a bad thing to manufacture wins for your clients. Like, it's actually what we should all be doing.
Yeah, I think that you're worried about it coming off as being disingenuous. Whenever you're sending a repeated email every week. But I mean, you guys have already shown, right? Like, we ask you, what do you guys do well? It's like we care, right? And your members know that you care, and they're not gonna think that an email where you're telling them how awesome they are is disingenuous coming from you guys. And like what Fern said, like manufacturing some wins, that could be something like, hey, everybody goes RX today because I programmed it to be that way. Right. And so then, now you got a win in somebody's bucket who's never been able to check the RX box before.
No.
I specifically told Cassidy and Jared when we start programming, is like, I want more benchmark workouts. Why? I want to manufacture wins. We have to be able to visually show people that they're progressing. We had 60 PRs on the deadlift on Monday. 60. So many PRs on the deadlift. Now, okay, cool, great, we manufactured a win. But then again, to go back to the story, I pulled out all those names for that day. I went to the coach. I said, take a snapshot of the board. I said, Jared, I want you to make a segment in Wodify so I can send an email to just those 60 people. I sent an email to all of those 60 people and be like, hey, all of you PR'd today. Like, you guys are fucking rock stars. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, nobody was ever upset about being strong. Right. Yeah. 2 weeks ago. And so just do what you're doing. Now we just have to be a little bit more intentional about it. Right. So how do we create the systems to be intentional about that? One of them is, I track the known things, right? Like what would be the things that would be positive for the gym, right? Attendance, PRs, birthdays, anniversaries, lifetime attendance. Like you could come up with a list of 6 of those, at which point you'd be interacting with those on a very regular basis. The nuance and where you can, the climbing Mount Everest version of this is, how do I collect the other stuff that you guys were talking about earlier, right? Just like the babies that are being born, somebody's lost a spouse or a loved one, they quit their job or whatever. How do I take that information? Or they lost weight, but that conversation happened in passing. So what I recommend is like figure out a mechanism for communication about just the clients, right? So like we use Slack in Affiliate U, and I use Slack inside of the gym, and there is a client wins tab.
Hello.
Right. And all we do is we dump client wins in there all day long. And then the staff knows that they should, when they see that person, they should interact with them on that win. So-and-so ran a marathon. So-and-so, won this award. So-and-so quit their job and is super happy about it. But like all of those things now get dispersed through the team so that they can have multiple contact points with the member about that. So there's like the fitness stuff, and then there's the personal stuff, and where you win is the personal stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with Brian here. There are a few places in the modern adult where the modern adult gets told you're doing a good job. It's our privilege to build up the mental well-being of our members, and it's simple. Simple, not to be confused with easy, Brian, but I agree with you wholeheartedly, right? But it can be easier, right? Going back to some stuff I covered with, one of my coaches, Dave Robinson, and then what we talked about with Mark England on the podcast about Enlifted is, what if it was easy? What if it was easy to have those communications? And actually, it turns out it can be significantly easier than we all think. It just has to be organized and intentional. So start tracking it, right? So you guys are doing it well because you're like most of CrossFit affiliate owners. You're like, I care. And I'm like, cool. Let's create a system for caring, right? It doesn't make it disingenuous. Like I would find it very hard to believe that the two of you could ever be disingenuous, just based on the conversation we're having here. So I wouldn't worry so much about it being perceived as disingenuous. Like, you're not disingenuous people.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. So ask me anything. What questions can I help you with? What struggles are you dealing with?
All right. Question number 1. And this is right up your alley in the bring your friend department.
Okay.
Yeah. Any suggestions? All right. So long story short, we're almost in the middle of our bring your friend week. So this week is our bring your friend week.
Okay. So it's currently happening. Got it.
Yes, currently happening. Yeah. So we have 76 people sign up as friends. So 76 friends.
76.
Yep. They had to go through a lot of hoops to sign up. So it's not just one-click sign up. No, they had to create, like we use Sporbit, but let's use Waterfy as an example. They had to make an account in Waterfy and had it all set up. They had to go through all the motions, give me all the details. Now they automatically get a Bring Your Friend Week membership, but gives them access to the whole week of the Bring Your Friend classes. So I'm not responsible for setting them in and out of classes. So they can all do that themselves. Okay. Like, hey, like download the app, like log in yourself, like ask your friend for help. If not, ask me for help. Like send them all a reminder past Sunday, like, hey guys, this week's Bring Your Friend Week. Haven't downloaded the app, like still like download it, go it. Still getting signups for the Bring Your Friend Week like yesterday and even this day. So people are still engaging their members. But I can tell you right now, like coming Sunday, not even, I think we had like maybe 50%, 60% attendance of those 76 people showed up for a Bring Your Friend class. So let's say 40%. So 30
something.
Yeah. So, and let's say 40% of those friends didn't show up to a class. They created an account. They went through all the hoops to create an account and look at the roster and whatever. But for one reason or another, they didn't show up. What should be my follow-up for those people? and go.
Well, first, I want to bring to light the fact that you created what sounds like a significant number of hurdles for people to jump through or jump over, and they did it anyway, which I find to be astonishing. Right. So that's a good thing. So there's kind of two buckets here, right? So the first one, I'm like, let's go with the easy target here, which is like, we'll talk about the people that didn't show up here in a second. What are we doing with the people that did show up? Like, what's our conversion looking at like with those people
right now? So at the moment,
is this your, let me ask you, is this your first Bring a Friend week?
In this format, yes.
Okay, so what was the previous format? So it sounds like you're doing like our. Can you just pull up that that link there, that link, Cody, that you posted in there for if anybody wants to download this. This is a kind of done for you Bring a Friend. Or did you guys download this and you're executing that?
Yeah, we executed that. We modified a little.
So what did the previous version look like?
Previous version, I think the last version we did last year was, I think the friend had to sign up via Google Doc or something, and basically you sign up for class, and then I assume you bring a friend, but you can only bring one friend, and you can basically your one friend could come to one class.
And it was the last class.
Why one friend? Yeah. Why only one friend?
Why do you guys not like your members? Because we was like, oh, we need to we have a class cap, and we couldn't manage so many people, so we had like 6 spots in class. 6 members sign up, they bring 6 other people, so there's 12 people in the class, or maybe a little bit more, like say 15, 16 people in total, maybe even. But like 8 members sign up, they all bring a friend. That's 16 people in total, and then we see it. Then a couple of Bring a Friend weeks ago, so let's say pre-COVID era, we were like really heavy on the sales side. So the moment you left to Bring a Friend, let's me or my partner at the time, we were like shoving the form in your face, like, awesome, you like the friend to friend class? Yeah, it was really nice. Awesome. Like, sign up right here, right now. That didn't work. So then it was like, okay, just back off, have people have a good time, and whatever happens, happens.
Was there an incentive for them to sign up?
Other than just being part of an awesome community? No. Then the last Bring a Friend week, what we really noticed.
Hey, you guys want to pay for more friends? So I don't want to skip over that, because that's this is and again, this is for everybody who's the Bring a Friend week. If you run Bring a Friend week without a referral offer, you might as well not have run Bring a Friend week. The two paired together is what makes it work. Okay. So have a referral offer ready to go when you do that, because they're there. All I need to do is incentivize them to get over the line at this point.
Yeah.
Right. And again, you're not going to convert all of them, but let's just say 50% would be a really high conversion. But at 50%, if you had 35 people come in, you're talking about like 10 people conversion. And no, you won't take a loss if you design the referral correctly. It'll just be like a 20% increase across those members versus 100% increase in revenue per those members. So what I mean by that is, if I had 15 people join due to Bring a Friend week and I designed it correctly, across those 15 people and their members, I would have a 20% increase in revenue across that 30 people. The following month, I would have 100% increase on those people.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a 20 into a 100 if it's designed correctly. And for anybody that's confused on the math, don't worry about it. I promise you it works.
It works out.
So if you don't have a referral offer, that's where I would start first. There needs to be some sort of incentive for them, for both parties too, by the way. So for your members and that new person.
This is the first time in my, let's say, almost 10 years of affiliateship that I gave a discount on a membership.
I used to do this too. So think of it like this. And if it helps, yes, it's a mind trick or whatever. You're not giving the discount. Your member is giving the discount. Let them be the one that gives them the bonus.
Because I was never big on it. Like, we gave away a lot of free stuff, from like gift cards for the shop, like to get free drinks and free shirts or whatever. But I never gave a discount on like the membership, because I do not want to discount my product. I think this is the first time I was like, we talked about this, and you can ask Fadi. He was like, dude, like, they say to do it, so do it. And I was like, I'm like, let's give it a try.
Makes sense. Like,
so here's the rub. Yeah. So I understand that like there's this no discount policy, and I don't agree with like no discounts ever. And what I'll tell you is like you'll find almost no organization on planet Earth that has like a strict no discount at all policy ever. What you will find is poorly designed discounts versus well-designed discounts. Meaning the well-designed discounts is designed for the business actually to make more money versus like a poorly designed discount is an arbitrary occupational based discount, right? The business gets nothing out of that. Zero. Where if I do something like a long-term agreement, the business gets long-term revenue out of that. So it's well designed. If you bring in a friend and there's a discount there, then the business gets more revenue once that transaction happens. So it's a logical discount. So if the discount is designed so that it actually increases revenue by creating an appropriate incentive, then I'm good with it. I'm not good with the other ones that are just like, Bob doesn't want to pay that much. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a terrible discount because I just gave in to Bob. Those I disagree with wholeheartedly. So the outcome is really where you should measure that. Did this discount result in more business than it was appropriately designed? If it didn't, then it's inappropriately designed.
Yeah. So curious.
So that'll be the first thing. So that's what I would do for those people, right? Is like, you don't have to like aggressively sell them, but like offer the incentive for them. And then follow up. You might have some people that would sign up right there on the spot, but I start follow-ups on like Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, that's my planning also. Like this, we end to bring a friend week on Sunday. So like Monday morning, Monday afternoon is where the first follow-up email will go out to the people. Like, hey, like hope you had fun. Like, remember, do it like the ID now and like shoot me down if you need to. Like my ID now is like, hey, like if you sign up before date XCY, you get the discount. Like you still be in for referral, like you get the referral discount. If not, like if you sign up way after that, like then because it's not a regular referral discount. This is just, I call it in life, just for the bring a friend week. So if those people come into like, I don't know, like 3 months from now, come like, oh yeah, but I went to the bring a friend week and I loved it, so now become a member. Like awesome, but then.
So I would still give it to them because like, so we don't, and this, you don't have to, but like the referral discount is available all the time. Doing bring a friend week is just a way for me to get a bunch of people in the building to basically make that transaction happen in mass. But if somebody brings it like, A3, if you brought in Valentine 3 months from now and we did bring a friend week this week, I would still give you both that referral.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing for the people that haven't shown up is, you could create some sort of like fast action incentive, meaning, hey, I know you weren't able to make it this week. However, I'm going to offer you the referral discount if you join by, call it April 15th.
Yeah.
Right. But time constrain it. Be like, this offer is not available forever because you didn't show up. Or throw something else in there, right? Because the referral, that would be a little bit in conflict because the referral is always available, but throw something else in on top of it, right? Something that's not going to cost you a ton. Be like, hey, if you join by April 15th, you're going to get the referral and I'm going to throw in whatever else that you want on top of that. So value stack it instead of, trying to use scarcity. So like you can use scarcity to some extent. It really wouldn't work there because it would be kind of a lie. Because like the referral is available all the time, so value stack it instead.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, I'll give you something in addition to that if you come in before this date.
Yeah.
And then also with all of those people, you have their information, so now I can put them in a long-term kind of like campaign, if you will, educational campaign, like long-term nurture campaigns, things of that nature, and I can continue to invite them to different things that we have going on. So for instance, we regularly have people that come to 2 or 3 bring a friend weeks before they join.
Yeah.
So it's a long game.
Yeah,
it's a long game.
I think for my past experience with the bring a friend weeks is people fall 2, maybe 3 categories, but 2 categories. One category is people like friends, husbands, wives show up just to be like done with the nagging. Like, yeah, I come to the CrossFit class once. I knew it was terrible. I never have to come again. So those people there. And And we noticed last time a lot of people brought their friends and coworkers from like out of town just to have a fun night out. And I'm like, awesome. Like you do you, like you're not become a member, like that's good. Or it takes like 2 or 3 months. So people do the bring a friend class, maybe join like 2 or 3 classes and then sleep about it. And then in like 4 or 5 weeks time, they go like, oh, it was really cool. Like I need to like sign up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long-term process, right? Bring a friend week is not like it is both a short-term process and a long-term process. I have the people there. I'm trying to convert them, obviously, but then the doing it repeatedly throughout the year for years on end is the long-term strategy. Because I've had people that have like it's taken 2 years for them to join after Bring a Friend week.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, they didn't join. I'm like, what if he joins 2 years from now? Are you going to be mad? Like, just be, it's just like play the long game essentially. Cool. What else?
That's true. All right. You have your question?
Because you said you had that was one, which sounded like you had multiple questions. What else you guys?
Yeah, we have both have questions, so that's good. So we go back.
Okay. No, but I was like, I'm more interested in the way how you develop your team. So I wanted to ask what you guys do at Rife, like. How are your coaches meetings going? What do you do besides the evaluating the coaches, and what other stuff you do to develop the team?
Mm-hmm. So I'll start with the evaluations, and I think what we do better than most people is the and this comes and goes in waves, right? And I've seen this repeatedly in other affiliates, is there has to be some time frame where the volume of feedback and evaluations like moves up significantly. Now, you probably can't sustain that forever, but there has to be some sort of like hyper-focused period of time where we're like, yo, we're going to get this dialed in and we're going to really dive in on the evals. And that could be 2 months, 3 months. So that's the first thing, is like, we will go in and we will like hyper focus for months at a time on certain things. And then we can back off a little bit, because if I've given that volume of feedback over time, it will stick after like 3 months. Like that change will be somewhat permanent that we got out of it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm actually working with Lindsay on this right now, is creating long-term training plans for everybody. Right. So we put every coach is in there. We have their kind of like their resume, like their full list of credentials. And then that gets paired with their evals. Right. So there's, again, same thing as kind of like the members, is like you did the eval or you got the information. What did you do with it now becomes the question. So if I look at, we'll just use either one of you. So we'll use A3 as an example. So A3, if I'm doing evals on you, I've got your full resume. I can see all the courses and everything that you've taken. And then I'm doing a series of evals on you for, I don't know, call it 2 months. And there starts to be a theme in those evals, right? And I determine that theme is something to do with lesson planning. Right. I mean, like you struggle with the timelines and like how to manage all of this. And I'm like, hey, cool. You know, what would be super useful to you is let's take the lesson planning course and then let's see how that impacts the following evals. Right. So I've got their resume or their list of credentials, and I've doing their evals. I extract whatever it is that their deficiency based on the actual execution of their classes, and then I plug in a solution for that problem. Right. So if it's a time management thing, because in the classes they're either running over or they don't understand stimulus and stuff like that, I'm like, cool, let's take the lesson plan. And I take their knowledge and I move it up one notch. And then we implement that into the classes moving forward. If they don't know much about, like if they really struggle in like weightlifting movements, I'm like, yo, you should take the weightlifting course. Plug that in and bring them back. And then the other thing that we'll do is, because we're working on that right now, these long-term training plans. So some of them involve like getting them into in-person courses. Some of them involve like, hey, you need to sit for your level 3. Like you've been sitting on this level 2 forever. Like let's nudge you along and let's set up a study plan for you to get that credential. And then the other piece is having them, if they do go to a specialty course of some sort, having them take that information and pass it to the rest of the team. So I had 2 coaches that just took the gymnastics course, and they won't shut the fuck up about it in a good way, right? To the point I reached out to Birdie, who's running that course. I'm like, yo, I want to come take the course. I want to do a podcast with you. Like, if these guys won't shut up about it, it must be great, because I took it 13 years ago, which means it's not the same anymore. So then I told him, I'm like, yo, you two, we're going to put it on the calendar. We're going to set it up, and you guys are going to give us a 1-hour condensed workshop of what you guys learned there, so that that information could be passed on to the rest of the team, so that we can figure out what's the most appropriate way to integrate the appropriate amount of content from that workshop or that seminar into the classes. Because it's not practical to come in there and change everything, right? You're not going to do, 15 minutes of hollow rocks in a class. Like, nobody's showing up for that, right? So how do we practically implement those things over a long period of time, and then have everybody on the same page about, hey, these are positions that we want to work on. Here's what you're looking for. Here's how you teach it. So you take that and then you give it to everybody else. So those would be the 3 things. The frequency of evals needs to have like dedicated periods of focus. Number 2, you need to develop long-term training plans. And number 3, anybody that gains knowledge needs to pass that knowledge to the rest of the team.
Yeah. Would you focus on one coach during that like focused in time, or would you just like, hey, these 2 months I will eval? We have 4 coaches. Let's say in these 2 months, I will eval all 4 coaches on one team, or focus on one coach and see what the team is.
Yeah, obviously there's a level of practicality that you can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
But I would focus on everybody at the same time, because otherwise you have to think about, if I don't, then I may never get to a certain coach, right? So if you only did one coach at a time, and you're doing like 2 or 3 months at a time, if you had 4 coaches, like one coach would have to wait a year before you got to them. Exactly. So, in working with everybody, the frequency might need to be adjusted, right? Just because you can't do it, right? But I would work with everybody.
And shameless plug, you can send them to the progression, where they can get some free from me and Ackerman.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point. Number 1, yes, shameless plug for the show. We have the progression. Also remember, part of their personal development plan, it doesn't all need to be facilitated by you. It just needs to be facilitated. Right. So whether they get the information from you or from somebody else, like, who cares? That's what we tell. So like in Affiliate U, gym owners are like, when should I send my coaches? We all need to go together. And I'm like, no, you don't. And you should send them yesterday. Get them in, because the time to start learning was yesterday. So just get them in and let somebody else handle it. Like, they will learn information, and then it just becomes a rolling conversation about like, how is that content or that information useful, and where can we use it?
I do think like having an external party or whatever like evaluate your coaches is not necessarily better, but I do think it's better, because when I evaluate my coaches, I'm biased from what I find important as a coach. And when Vali evaluates, he goes from what he finds important. Like, the basics is the basics, but like, I really care about one aspect of coaching, right? So I don't necessarily go heavy on one other point, and some other coach may evaluate like something other different. So I think that's
yeah. But I think the point there, that's good, right? I have the objective metrics that we need to succeed on. But after that, like, if you're really good at, I don't know, gymnastics, then you should give your feedback on gymnastics. And if Valley's really good at weightlifting, then let him give the feedback on weightlifting, because he's a specialist. That in my dream world, I would have a stable of coaches, many of which who had a specialty, right? Like, they would literally be the specialist in that thing, right? A weightlifting specialist, a gymnastics specialist, an aerobic capacity specialist. So that if somebody was like, yo, I need help with this, and I'm like, go talk to him. He's better than everybody at it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think it's actually a good thing, because overall it will raise the knowledge of the overall coaching staff.
Yeah. I'm not like, that's good. What I meant was like, I'm like, let's say like my bias from coaching is like presence and attitude. I'm really heavy on like body language, use of hands, don't walk with a stick, don't eat and drink on
That's
the floor,
great.
whatever. Yeah, but I don't focus on like, oh, you had everybody, like your technique wasn't on point, so I'm good as long as you teach a good class, which technique was maybe subpar. Like I'm happy as a coach. Well, some other coach will go heavy.
But stay there for a second, right? So this is the benefit of doing evals, right? So what have we identified that you can work on?
Technique.
Right. So this is where you start to level up too, which is like, well, I like to presence and attitude. I'm like, well, cool. The saying goes, you're better off diving headlong into your weaknesses by spending any more time doing the things that you're good at, which is true as somebody giving evaluations too. Like if you crush on giving feedback on presence and attitude, then I'm going to challenge you. Stop doing that. Give feedback on other things that you're not so great at.
Yeah. It's a good one.
What else?
You go.
Yeah, I go. All right, cool. Then my biggest question at the end of the show, that's always good, right? Cash flow. I'm like, my first question would be, how do I get more members? And then you're going to shoot me down. Like, do you really want more members? I'm like, no, I need more. Like, I need more revenue. I need more cash flow. Am I happy?
Well, those two things don't have to be in conflict. I would argue that most gyms want more members, but it's not just more members, right?
For sure. So, but if you ask me, like, if I could choose between like more revenue or more members, I would choose like more revenue. I don't necessarily need more members.
Yeah. Okay. So the one precursor question to that is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being you are a Jedi, 7 not being an option.
6.
Where would you grade yourself on management of cash flow?
On management of cash flow, 8.
Meaning, like, how well do you understand your cash flow? 8?
Yeah,
okay.
Here's the point. Do I know? Yes. Do I have every number? Yes. Do I know exactly where every like euro goes? Yes. Do I still miss euros? Yes.
Well, then I would argue it's not an 8.
We are not that sales, you know, like we.
So, well, there's two pieces, right? So there's knowing where everything goes, and then there's driving my cash flow, right? And this is where like the skill set of budgeting comes in. So first and foremost is, like I tell everybody, it's just like when we do our money map exercises with everybody, almost always the first thing that we can make ground on is like, yo, get your expenses in order and figure out where every cent goes, and then you determine where it goes moving forward. And this is why we have a budgeting course inside of Affiliate U. We will be soon offering that as a paid product for just anybody to do it. But it literally changes people's lives, because there's just managing what you have first is step one before we talk about having more. You know, the old saying is like, hey, if you have $5 and you can't manage that, you definitely can't manage 5 million. So it's like, learn to manage 5 first. So manage it first. And then second, if it's more revenue, then my question is, and I did have this question and I'm glad you brought that up, is, do you have the ability, or is it appropriate to raise prices?
And this is where the emotional and rational come in, right? This is the... So
right.
Does it feel rationally right to raise the prices? I would say maybe not at the moment, but in the near future, yes. Like, we made a lot of changes. I do believe, like, strongly, and I hope another gym from your work is listening in, but I do believe, like, hands down, we are, like, coaching-wise and, like, gym-wise, we are member-wise, not the biggest, but we are the best gym in town, like CrossFit-wise. Like, we rely heavily on quality and coaching. I do stand for that. Like, we are already the most expensive gym, like CrossFit box in town. So that doesn't, like, changes anything. But would I be even more expensive happily? Yes. Emotionally, would I feel right raising my prices in this economy and inflation and shit like that? No. And I think that's where, like, a lot of, like, conflict comes from.
Well, this is a tough one, but you have to look at it a little bit. So, do you need to? It becomes the question. Meaning, has your cost of doing business gone up?
No.
At all?
Like, not significantly.
But it
rent
has.
rent hasn't been raised. I don't have extra electricity, gas, lighting costs or anything like that. Like I have a pretty chill landlord. So other than internet going from like 50 to 55 euros and stuff like that, it's not, that's what I mean, like not significantly more expensive.
Okay. Could you provide a better product and service with more cash flow?
This is like yes and no. In the short term, no. In the long term, yes. Will my coaches stay happy with and will I stay happy with the compensation I pay at the moment? For the short term, yes, everybody can drive as long as they can on motivation, but like motivation, smiles, and cuddles don't pay at the grocery store, right? So they need something to pay the rent with. So in the long term, like giving them
I've tried to pay with my groceries with smiles and cuddles, and you're right, it does not work.
Yeah,
I just hugged the cashier. She was like, cool, I need $150.
You're like, well, you get one more. Like, just bring it in.
Oh, fuck, it was worth a try.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like being in the long term, like providing the education and providing like the growth path for myself and for the coaches, being able to invest back in the box. Yes. Like long term. Yes.
So, I mean, I would argue that's the only justification that you need. You just need to make sure that it's communicated and executed appropriately.
Yeah.
Right. If the answer is long term, this will help me improve the continuity of my coaching staff, the level of professionalism and expertise of my coaching staff, and a better facility and environment for my clients for them to get better results. I really don't know what other justification we would need to do that. Now, that doesn't make it easy to do, right? But it does make it a simple decision. Now the problem becomes like, when and how. I can think of almost no scenarios in which the answer was no, we shouldn't do that. The outcome of doing this wouldn't be better.
Yeah.
Right. Almost no scenario for CrossFit gyms at large where I was just like, hey, if we did this, everything would be better. Right. So, and this is a concept that we've been kind of toying around with, is just like understanding the three stakeholders inside of the affiliate. Right. So think of your affiliate as a pie. If I cut it right down the middle, at the bare minimum, we'd have the business as 50% and the service as the other 50%, meaning like how you coach and interact with your members. Anybody who doesn't think that way doesn't know what they're talking about. I don't know what else to tell them. Now, the three stakeholders there are the business, the team, and the members. Yeah. And at any point, if any one of those becomes out of balance, I have a problem. Meaning, like, if the members are being underserved versus what they pay, this is out of balance. If the members are being overserved, but the business is crushing, it's out of balance. If the members are super happy and the business is crushing, but the coaches are being destroyed based on hours worked, it's out of balance. Yeah. And I have to do this balancing act of understanding who needs what in order to keep everything intact. So if raising prices a little bit creates balance in the system because it allows better continuity for the coaches to provide a better service, it would now be in balance.
No.
Okay. So when you think about it like that, then it's just like, okay, this makes sense. Now all I have to do is deliver it appropriately in appropriate timeline and communicate it correctly. Right?
Yeah.
The issue is I've never seen an issue with the actual raising of a price. I've seen an issue with the way it was executed. That's the only problem I've ever seen with it.
I agree.
Yeah. People, contrary to popular belief, people are not dumb. They know prices go up. It's just the way the world works. How you do it, when you do it, the degree with which you do it, those are the three variables that have to be considered. And this is where we walk everybody through all the math. How would you do it? What's an appropriate price raise? When would that be? What about this person? All that kind of stuff. It becomes a very individualized process the first time. After that, it's really simple. The first one is the heaviest of all the lifts. Just like a deadlift, right? That first one of a triple is the heavy one. You're like, why won't this fucking thing come off the ground? After that, it's like, dink, dink, right? It's just a touch and go. But that first one is sticky. It's the same thing when we're talking about price raises. The first one is sticky. It feels like it's coming off the ground. After that, I'm into the rest of the reps, and this feels much smoother as I work through.
Yeah. The first price raise we did was to 18. That was like scary as fuck. But like you said, a lot of things were out of whack and out of balance. And there's like, I can remember it till like the day, like yesterday, like typing the email, pressing send in like MailChimp, and then closing the laptop, turning off my phone, and just went for a walk. I'm like, I do not want to
go run in heavy traffic with a blindfold on and be like, just make it stop.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, like maybe a couple members left, most of them came back, and it's like nothing happened, right? Like this is, but it's so like as an owner and a business, not even a business owner, like as an affiliate owner, you're so personally attached to the business. And the moment you go like, okay, but I need to, it's either like sustain the business, so raise my prices, or keep the same prices and work 2 other jobs next to the affiliate to make sure to pay for the affiliate. I'm like, well,
right. And that's the exact scenario I'm talking about when it's just like the emotional nature of us owning the affiliate by its very nature creates imbalance, meaning like, okay, the members are super happy, but the business is struggling immensely. But cool, out of balance. At some point, this will no longer function, right? It has to be brought in balance. Because if you're working 3 jobs and miserable, but in air quotes, love the affiliate, and the members are like, yo, I'm getting a steal here, that is out of balance. Like that needs to be brought into balance there. Because again, the members will stick around, and we've proven, like Cody's seen all the videos, like every week we'll get on the motivation calls. I'm like, I did my price raise, and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, nothing. And I'm like, yep, another one in the I told you so box. Like as long as you do this correctly, it will be fine. And will everybody stay all the time? No, but that's okay. Yeah. That's totally fine.
Would it be easier?
As long as for the betterment of the group.
Yeah.
Would it be easier if you raise the prices for the new people, and then for the already members that you have to raise it over 6 months or over 3 months, but you communicate that directly?
That's almost always the strategy that we use. It's always easier to raise on the new people, and that gives me a little bit longer runway to fix everybody else. It also creates a scenario where I have to raise everybody else's prices now.
Yeah,
that's why we do it that way.
But you let them know.
Otherwise, it's unfair.
Yeah,
you let them know with the 3 months or 6 months before, or like.
Yeah, I don't. There's usually like you don't need to tell them too far in advance, but like 3 months is plenty. You don't need any more than 3 months. I wouldn't do any more than 3 months, and I wouldn't do any less than 30 days notice on that.
They need a notice. Yeah, exactly. And do you believe in like, let's say these are not the number, or you can use our number. So a membership right now is 88 euros. Let's say you want to go to 95. Would you do like this year we go from 88 to like 90, 92, and then in another 6 months go 95, or just rip the band-aid off and go like, hey guys, we go from 88, let's go to 95, or like whatever price you want to go to? Because there's 2 strategies, right? They go small steps, or just rip the band-aid off and take the heat.
Yeah, the small steps can end up feeling like nickel and diming people. Meaning like you're just gonna you're just constantly taking from them. There's definitely a point where you need to do like a stair step. I'll speak in dollars. Typically we tell people like once you get into like the $25 mark, if it's over that, you might, if it's gonna be more than $25, you're probably gonna be looking at breaking that up over time. The reason for that is not because that's too much. The reason is like that's your fault for not having corrected it sooner. So you should give them a break on like correcting it. If it's under that, when you guys are talking about €7, I'm not being flippant about money, but I would just do the whole thing in one jump.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, hey, I hope you guys wrote all that down. I wrote it all on a napkin. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. I know there's some questions here in the chat that Cody wanted to bring up.
I just got a couple here. So what happened there? Here we go. This one's for you, A3. You got 4 coaches. How do you plan your holiday?
What holiday? I'm an affiliate. I own an affiliate.
I knew he was going to say that.
No, so
he's like I haven't been on vacation since 2009.
And then just call back and go, you were in New York last month. I'm like, fuck yeah. But that was a work trip. That's how I do. I plan a vacation and I do a drop in and then I write it all off. No, I think Valentin Ovali, our head coach, he's the only other full-timer. The other 2 coaches are part-timers. And it's just me and Valentin can go on holiday at the same time. Other than that, we're pretty flexible. So Valentin and I need to like get our schedules together. Or basically, Valentin's wife and my wife need to get their schedules together and make sure they don't plan holidays at the same time. And then the rest can fill in those. Because if one of the other coaches leave, it's either me or Valentin who needs to fill in those holes. So yeah, but we plan ahead like a lot of months in advance on that shit. Like, hey, right now we're already talking about summer holidays and winter holidays for this year to make sure, like, hey, that we don't leave at the same time.
I would get at least one other like part-time coach, so you have a backup.
Yeah. We had a plan
to have like a decent bench of coaches.
Yeah.
Fern, this one was for you because you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. So the next one.
Why do you hate the goal review session?
Yep.
Keep it short. Keep it short.
Yeah. Two things. I should clarify my statement. I hate the way that they are 99% of the time executed, right? So clarification. Most of the time they are executed solely for the standpoint of doing an upsell, right? That's me personally. I don't agree with that. I don't think you should just upsell people to upsell them. So that's one reason. The other reason is the other 99.9% of the time. So now we've covered 1,048% is there's no follow-on system for that. Meaning I do the goal review session to set I have checked the box, but there's no means for me to follow up on that over time, right? At which point all I've done is set up a scenario for me to fail, right? So if you can't follow through with it, don't do it. If you're not doing it for any other reason than to upsell this person potentially on something that they don't need or want, then don't do it. I kept it short.
Can I chime in on that real quick?
Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah. I think in my experience as a member at other sporting facilities and as a owner coach myself, I think Fern, you touched on this, is what I do with it. If I ask my members, so when people came in with me, like in the old days, like they sit down with me and like, oh, why do you want to join CrossFit? Oh, I want to like achieve XYZ. I'm like, awesome. And I wrote it all down and I did absolutely jack shit with it. Like I wrote it down in the system
Right.
and that's it, and did nothing with it. And then because now I heard when we started these talks from like the old school members, they come like, oh yeah, but what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to like sit with me and talk with me and then do nothing with it? So now that's why we made a big deal. Like we need to follow up with these people and make sure like, yeah, no, we really, like you set your goal. Now we're going to help you achieve your goal. At least do something with it. I think that's where a lot of like these goal setting reviews like fail, because you set your goal, like I'm running a marathon, and go like, awesome, talk to you in 6 months, and then you ran a marathon yet? No. Okay.
Right. Right. So the other thing is I think in many instances the means with which those goal review sessions are solved are done incorrectly, right? So essentially what it turns into is a lot of one-on-one work, and I'm not opposed to doing work. I'm also not opposed to working one-on-one with people. I do recognize that there is a cap on one's ability to manage one-on-one scenarios. And many of them can be solved by fixing that person's struggle, accountability, needing to get stronger, can be solved systematically for everybody, because everybody probably has a similar issue with that, right? So if they're like, I need better accountability, I don't think that the answer is create a one-on-one check-in with this person forever. I think the answer now, the question that needs to be asked is, why are we not doing that already for everybody? And then I solve that problem for the masses, not just for this one person, because that one person is now superseding my attention on how I should manage the group. Right? Think about have you ever seen a coach in a level 1 or in a group setting where they're coaching, and there's somebody that's really struggling with movement, and they get sucked into that one person.
Yeah, it's them.
And all of a sudden it's like a weird personal training session, but in a group scenario in which the group is just watching this very awkward interaction happen.
Yeah.
It's the same exact scenario, right? It was just like, hey, this is like, I need help. And then all of a sudden I'm spending all my time with this one person instead of figuring out, okay, they said they have, they struggle with accountability. Well, that could be solved systematically for everybody instead of just this one person, right? So I'm never actually fixing the problem, right? Because when they go away, somebody else is going to have it, because I never actually solved the problem. I was just checking in with A3 because he said he needed accountability. Well, why don't I just figure out how to keep everybody accountable? Going back to where we started earlier with like where and how and when I'm checking in with people and stuff. And all of a sudden that is solved collectively within the team in a very intentional fashion, instead of being reactive to this person's accountability problem. So that's the other reason.
That's all the questions I got over here.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, I want an invite to the Netherlands Summit. Cindy, it sounds like you're also in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So I would like an invite. I will selfishly invite myself. No, but thank you guys for coming on. Yeah, Cody's coming with me.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can do for you guys?
No, not at the moment. Nothing I can think of so quick.
Cool.
No. Thanks so much for having us. Being the first guest.
That's right. That's right. I want you guys to crush Bring a Friend week. If you don't have a referral offer built, we're going to build it right here on the spot. It's 40%.
We had it
at the end of the week.
We took followed to the letter.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Yep. So again, we have made a course for this that will help you. And I get emails all the time. I'm like, hey, I was doing it, but I changed it. I'm going to do it my way. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you this way? Just do it the way we told you to do it. It works. Okay.
You cannot do it that way.
If you guys want to be on the hot seat, hit us up. He's going to drop a little link and banner in there. But also, please subscribe, like the videos, share them. If you want to be on the show, reach out to us. We will make sure that we get you booked out on the shows are permanently moving to 3 p.m. on Mondays. 3 p.m. on Mondays. This is the last Thursday show. But outside of that, if you guys need anything, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. We can't wait to make a trip to the Netherlands. I might be going to Germany in September. If that's a maybe to do the affiliate summit there. I know that's not the Netherlands, but yeah, it's closer than Virginia Beach. So, so yeah, if that's the case, I'll let everybody know. But yo, keep crushing in the Netherlands. It's always cool to talk to box owners all over the world, and we appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, man.
Cool. See you guys.
Take it away, Cody.
Bye.